It's Theme Park Thursday Live with Dillo's Dudes. Featuring Frank. And Jen.
This is Theme Park Thursday Live with Dillo's Diz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank, and for the next 30 minutes or so here on our YouTube channel, but maybe also on the audio feed as an episode during the holidays. We'll see. You never know. We have 3 topics or subjects that we did not discuss on the Theme Park Thursday podcast that dropped today on our podcast today. It was Steffers, it was Landon, it was Justin, it was the Monday morning monorail crew with all the holiday goodness.
Yes, love it. Love it. It was a soiree. It was a switcheroo-skidoo, but we didn't switch. It was a good time.
Yeah. So lots of holiday and the theme park talk, some 2024 talk, because 2024 is almost here. Jen's already lamenting that the holidays are over.
I'm sad. I started getting sad yesterday.
Let's start before Thanksgiving to see what happens.
I will not.
Just try it. Maybe you won't lament as much.
No, I will, because it makes it special by waiting.
Or are you afraid that it's going to hit you harder if you celebrate the holiday season longer?
I'm sure there's probably something. Am I going to tap into that? No. So in the meantime, it's this special thing. It's kind of like, now let's go on a tangent, shall we? Because we have only 30 minutes. It's kind of like when I would think about, should I move back to Orlando? And this way I can go to Disney anytime I want. And there's always the part, me and Mr. Snidillo would talk about this all the time. There was the part of it, it's like, but I like that it's a special thing. I like that it's a trip. I like that it's a vacation. I like that it holds its own thing, and that maybe we don't take it for granted. Not that people take it for granted who live there, but all those things. So it's kind of like that for the Christmas time, where I like to keep it in this special little nook.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, I don't know if we should discuss this publicly, but do you, would you foresee a time when your kids are older and they high school and college is done, or at least just high school is done, where you would then reconsider moving to Orlando? This is something that is not an option for me, but it could be for you.
At the present time, no. But never say never to anything, right?
That's right.
But, we love California. Maybe we'll go out there. No, I have no idea. Well, who knows what the future holds? Or it will just be here forever.
Forever? Who knows what 6 months from now will be like? But yeah, Mrs. Dillo asked me the other day. I don't know. We were, we joke lately about the mid 2000s, but for some reason it came up, and it stems to a conversation from a month ago about when I moved back from Orlando in January of 2000, and just like that process from late 99 into 2000. And as I'm talking, I then started to talk about it was only supposed to be short term, and I was going to go back to do a show in Orlando and then decide all right, I'm just going to go back. I just need the break in New York. But then I got the Renaissance Festival, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to stay up here. And then, and then the world happens. So,
right.
This
might be a longer conversation for our post show, I think.
Sounds like a post show. Yeah. And by the way, we do a post show for Theme Park Thursday Live over at DillosDizResort.com. DillosDizResort.com. That, of course, is our Patreon with memberships beginning as low as $1 per month. DillosDizResort.com. Home of the world-renowned, world-famous one-channel Discord. There's only one.
Only one.
One.
We don't do other channels. Sometimes there's been side DMs on the Discord. That alone has confused us enough.
Yeah, a couple of times I've seen lately, there's a side channel. And I'm like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Side channel. What's happening? Can't have that. So there's a lot of rebellion going on in our one channel Discord. All right, 3 topics or 3 subjects. I'm going to pull them up. Jen, I see a lot of people. I see the chat blowing up, but I haven't gone over to my comments yet. So, I don't know
yes, good morning to everyone in the chat. We appreciate you being here. As always, we are live on YouTube today, not just at DillosDizResort.com, but if you like us here live on YouTube, first of all, do a little thumbs up, like it. If you haven't subscribed, we'd love to have you hang out here more as we work our way to 1,000 subscribers. We're so close. And also, we do more lives at Dillo's Diz Resort, which we just mentioned is our Patreon. So if you like us here, maybe hang out with us there too.
So 24 minutes we have here to go across, 8 minutes per. Usually, we let the chat vote on the order. Today, for the purposes of this may be an audio podcast, I think it's best for the enjoyment of a listener in the future to go in order 1, 2, 3. So I'm changing. It's changed, everybody. There's a change about to happen here on Theme Park Thursday Live. Today, there will be no vote. There will only be the 3 topics or subjects in which we will go in order. I'm sorry, Lexi. I'm sorry, Louis. I'm sorry. I know your whole day, your whole week is now thrown off course.
Yes.
You had to listen to the audio podcast today with the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. Ryan, I'm sorry. But I know.
Jeffers is rebelling and just voting anyway.
Jeffers is just voting anyway. I haven't even laid down the topics. Topic number 1. Remembering Dick Nunis. Longtime Disney executive Dick Nunis passed away at the age of 91. We'll review his time as a cast member and talk about, the periods of time in which he was actively engaged in shaping Disney. Party 2. Topic number 2. Third party tour. This has come up lately and now seems to be a little more active in third-party tours in the parks, Disney parks in particular, getting the boot, telling, a little cease and desist, a little thing. So we'll talk about that. It's kind of a broad topic that I only probably can contribute a small portion to, and maybe in a way that might anger some people. So I'm going to watch my words carefully.
All right.
And we'll do that. And then topic number 3, and that's an S there. It should be an A because I wrote it on my phone this morning. A Mickey for all in 2024. No, Mickey Mouse is not running for president, but the earliest version of Mickey is going to be available in the public domain. So I have a little Time magazine article that will talk about that, the outline, what it means. And that is the order, because I figured that one would be the longest. That's why we are actually going in order today, is because I think topic number 3 will get us the most squeeze from our juice from our squeeze.
Let's see. I gotta.
Topic number 1. Oh, yeah, all these ads on this article from the Orlando Sentinel that I want to share on the stream. And now
Is it a recipe? What kind of ads are you seeing?
Can I tell you, that was because we could have went on a tangent for that for hours, but that was one of the funniest parts of our conversation with the monorails and Landon and just the whole team there on Monday night when we recorded, was because it's something that I think everybody knows, but we never say to each other out loud, is that trying to find a recipe online Where are the ingredients?
Right. I got to scroll. And then sometimes they'll say the ingredients, but then you got to scroll more to actually find out how much of each thing goes in where and what happens.
It's wild. So, a long time, Dick Nunis, former chairman of Walt Disney Attractions and a 44-year cast member, passed away at 91 on Wednesday in Orlando. It's just fascinating. I think just some things to point out. His career began as a training instructor in 1955 before the opening of Disneyland, where he was making a hefty $1.80 per hour. Then he went on to be instrumental in the development of Walt Disney World, Tokyo Disneyland, and Disneyland Paris. And it's really those, that time in the 80s there that we can talk about. Iger said that Nunis took the values and philosophies he learned directly from Walt and incorporated them into everything he did at Disney. I don't know who this man is on the Bloomberg screen there. We are grateful for his many achievements, and we extend our deepest sympathies to his family and loved ones. We don't need to know what's going on in Georgia in the election. In Orlando Sentinel article from 1996, I probably read this article reading the Orlando Sentinel every day when I was living in Orlando.
Eating an ice cream Snickers bar while you did it.
Oh, glorious. The summer of 1996, when Jen would come to visit, basically a week of Snickers ice cream bars in our freezer.
That's why I have a nut allergy now.
So Nunis' home in Orlando is described as having many Disney touches, including Mickey Mouse ears atop the cappuccino machine, a mirror that cackled with a witch's voice, and 8 stained glass windows in a 2-story bedroom depicting Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. Where was this home? And why have I driven by it? Was it on Dean Road? Was it on Goldenrod, aka 551? Where was this? I want to know.
I'm going to find out while you continue.
He retired from the company in 1999. And was named an official Disney legend that year, receiving a window in Disneyland's Main Street. And then the Magic Kingdom, his window is above the Main Street Bakery and reads the original Dick Nunis gym, which I love. I didn't even know that was. I have the book of windows. I don't even think I remember ever seeing that in my book of Walt Disney World's Main Street windows. Last year, Nunis chronicled his career in Walt's Apprentice, keeping the Disney dream alive, which included theme park stories and tales from the 1960 Olympics and the New York World's Fair. By the way, this is something I've not said to Jen out loud. This is going to be a post-show resort conversation today, just talking about 2024 as a whole. But we know that 90s Con is in March, but I know April is the what year is it? 60th anniversary of the New York World's Fair. And I feel like we're going to have to do something for that.
Yeah.
So that is where we are there. And for a while, to me, as I was getting into Disney, not getting into Disney, I was into Disney, I guess, but, through the 80s there, there was Michael Eisner, becoming kind of this face of the company. But if you did a little more research on your Disney, you saw Dick Nunis' name come up a lot in the 80s. So we would get, I guess generally it's very young, so I guess I'm much older, but I would get a lot of articles that were clipped out, sent to me from the Orlando Sentinel. It would, the letter would be addressed to Michael Mine. It's a longer story for another time. Dick Nunis was familiar to me because he was often referenced in those articles. So to me, this is kind of a bigger deal. This might not be a name that's recognizable to you or someone you may, but he was very impactful to me in that time. It was like Eisner and Dick Nunis, basically, in those early days of me learning about Walt Disney World, especially.
I might not stop laughing about that. That should be a post-show story too. And it took a second to process. I was like, what did he just? Oh, no, I don't.
Anywho, there's so much. There's so much content we have not given you.
Well, a lot of that would just be a deep dive into our lives. I want to follow up. His house was in Windermere.
Oh, gotcha.
So, which makes sense. I believe maybe he was neighbors with Joey Fatone. I don't know.
there's a lot about, because to me in my head, sometimes it's 1999 in Orlando when I visit Orlando.
Yeah.
So, there's areas that like Winter Haven, wasn't a thing.
Uh-huh.
When I was down there in March visiting my friend Ale Flores, and he was at a place in Winter Haven, and I was like, okay, this area, this wasn't a thing, right? When we were young, no, this wasn't a place. And he's like, not really, no. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure it existed, but not in the way.
There's so many things like Nona. I feel like that was only just starting, and there's just all these little pockets that were created.
Pockets of Central Florida.
Yeah.
A third-party tour. It's a thing. I wasn't doing a tour of the beach club in September for our community core meetup. There wasn't certainly a reveal of Jen's toenail or the secret staircase or the quiet pool experience. That's what you missed out on if you didn't show up to the community core meetup in September. Maybe there'll be another meetup in the future. Who can say?
We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen.
You never know what 2024.
And also, Dillo's does tours. I mean, should that be a thing?
Well, we're not going to be allowed because they're abruptly banning third-party tour guides.
Makes sense.
According to the Washington Post here, and I'm sure many other periodicals. Dozens of independent guides say they have been issued trespassing orders in recent months. Basically, I mean, I'll just cut to the gist, but, I think Disney said in an emailed statement that they are taking additional steps to enforce their rules that prohibit commercial activities such as tours provided by third-party operators because of a significant increase in these rule violations. They cited that some operators have sold unauthorized Disney services, including in-park offerings like Genie Plus wine cutting services, the Disability Access Service, and the park's dining and lodging reservations. Now, Jen and I are a couple of rule followers, so...
Yes.
When this activity happens, it impacts the experience of other guests following the rules, including our guests with disabilities, and impedes our theme park operations. So I only can, when I was a tour guide at Universal, I feel like a lot of my tours was actually leading around third-party tour groups. Where whether they were, international or not, or domestic, often I would have a third party group that I would be leading around so they could use the theme park services. Now they were still, I think that third party was still planning, the trip for them, where to meet up, what to do, what time, where to hit the marks. But they were still buying Universal's services to then take them around the park. So to me, ingrained in my brain is if you're paying, there's services being rendered. I get that tours are a lot at the theme parks these days. They ain't what they are in 1999.
Yeah.
But the rules are the rules. Jen?
I think for me, or playing devil's advocate, or I don't know, maybe a little bit of both. To me, I would feel like if you have a group, but you're still using the in-park service, but you're getting the initial group together, but then you're using the in-park tour, I feel like that would be okay, right? Because you're kind of getting the first part started, but you're still using the services of Disney. You're not giving the tour. You're just sort of arranging everything. But I understand that it gets tricky with Genie Plus and all of that. However, this obviously is the way of just abusing it, where you're not using in park, you're abusing the system altogether. I know there's a discussion about DOS in the chat, and I know there's more abuse of that system lately. Plus, people are getting frustrated because they're using Lightning Lane, which sometimes has been longer. We use a DOS pass when we go to Disney as the four of us, and there have been times where we return to Mickey and Minnie's, let's say, to go on it, and that line was outside the theater. And I was like, well, this defeats the purpose. We're not going to go on this. This is This is the entire reason why we don't want to do this. But I will be very sad if, and I don't think Disney would do this because they're very cognizant, but like to see something like that go away because of the bad apples that are ruining it for everybody else. But overall, it doesn't surprise me in 2023 that people are trying to take advantage of everything and go, hey, we could make up a tour group and we'll just go and you guys give us money and we're going to mark it up and we'll get you Genie Pass stuff and take you around the parks. Like, but obviously these people are still getting paid and that's not right. It's the same thing as when people are trying to sell Disney merch inside the park. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing that you think you're not going to get caught? So, I feel for Disney in a way of like, and I'm sure people are like, why do you feel for Disney? They're making billions of dollars. All right, relax. I just feel for them though in a way of trying to keep up with how the world is now. I mean, the ways people can connect, the ways people can come together, the ways people can make money online. How do you possibly keep up with all of it? Which is very difficult. That's all.
I think that's I mean, as everyone is saying in the chat here, right? The lines are very fine, and there is, I guess I'm hopeful that there's clear delineations, right?
Yeah.
It's not just I have a DOS pass because I cannot, not me personally, but I'm saying if I'm someone with a DOS pass, but I am with a group of friends, but I can't wait in a line.
Yeah.
But I'm hanging out for the day. Like there has to, and right, didn't it go from 10 to 5? Wasn't that like another? I feel like that was another part of their of their process. Yeah. So it's gone from 10 people to 5 people. So there is, if you see a group of 10, I mean, I think that's a sign. So, the group of 5 with DOS Pass, I don't see. Lewis makes the point of like, are they going to pay attention on the app to see if they're changing out names? I don't think it matters. If you have an annual pass and I have friends visiting, our friend Sam, who she would say, I had friends coming in every weekend to visit me. And she's going to the park and she doesn't have I don't think she has a DOS Pass, but I'm saying if she did, then and she's putting different names. So what? She's got friends in town. That's her right. That's what that's what's available to her if she did have one. Right. So I should have not used the name, but said it generally speaking. But here I am. Right.
And that's the fine line, right? Because that's totally within her right, and that's part of the rules of DOS. And also to Lewis's point, I do feel like because normally it's only been the 4 of us, so we haven't been switching people out. But like when we all went in 2022, there were certain rides where we switched some people out. And I remember having to go to the customer relations stand because the app wasn't letting me properly switch. So sometimes I do feel like they are watching and they do have some of these safeguards in place to just be like, let's bring them in a little bit and just see what's actually happening here or whatever the case. But that line is so tricky to your point of I live here, I have a DOS pass, family members are coming in and I want to switch it out. I'm not running any kind of commercial operation and it's hard to figure out who are those people and who aren't.
Yeah. And I mean, and to your point of mentioning that, when we went to the Magic Kingdom before the cruise in 2022, there are many families that have party of 6, party of 8. There are larger families than, I mean, we're 10 when we're combined with Mama and Papa Dillo, but it's so then it also kind of sucks that if you have a sibling who has a DOS pass and the other, the other 3 siblings with the 2 parents, one has to sit out. Like, and again, I don't know the fine. Maybe there's exceptions. I don't know. I don't know all the rules, but that's like, oh man, like just because I have 2, 3 siblings, I can't go with my whole family on a ride.
Exactly.
There's also that. So it's very complex and complicated. And I think something that constantly has to be navigated.
Yes.
All right, it wasn't too bad. I get worried about taking opinions and sides on
I know, same. Lewis says, in your case, if your mom and your dad has one, you can do 10 at that point. Yeah, but what if you can't? You don't have a reason for each. If you don't have a reason for 2 people in your family to have a DOS pass, then you can't do that.
You know what's funny is I just tried to edit that and then it still wouldn't let me do it, which is hilarious.
You cannot put A. You have to put S.
You must put S. A Mickey for all in 2024, as we have 5 minutes left instead of S Mickey for all in 2024. This was something that came up last year when Winnie the Pooh and some of the characters in Winnie the Pooh went public domain. This year, it is Mickey Mouse, earliest versions of Disney's Mickey Mouse and Minnie to enter public domain in 2024. So with several asterisks, qualifications, and caveats, this is via time.com, Mickey Mouse in his earliest form will be the leader of the band of characters, films, and books that will become public domain as the year turns to 2024. So if we're going from Steamboat Willie, Mickey and Minnie, they become available for public use. Everyone, fire up your TeePublic shops. It's happening right now. This is it. This is Mickey Mouse. This is exciting because it's kind of symbolic. U.S. law allows a copyright to be held for 95 years after Congress expanded it several times during Mickey's life. It's sometimes I can't say that word, referred to as the Mickey Mouse Protection Act. That's oversimplified because it wasn't just Disney that was pushing for term extension. It was a whole group of copyright holders. So ever since Mickey's first appearance in Steamboat Willie, people have associated the character with Disney stories, experiences, and authentic products. That will not change when the copyright in the Steamboat Willie film expires. Current artists. So you see we're going down more. I think the other one I really wanted to mention before we get onto it is, Tigger was not in the first Winnie the Pooh book, but he was in the second Winnie the Pooh book. So Tigger, I guess the earliest design of the character, you know what I mean, like the older sketches, also becomes public domain next year. And to say, when Winnie the Pooh, they did like that hit. Did you ever see those trailers for that Winnie the Pooh horror movie, Jen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what's so funny to me is like, they're kind of the Disney versions, but that they're not exactly like, it's like, you're not really. I don't think Winnie the Pooh looked like he did in the Disney movies.
Yeah.
In 1920, whatever. So Disney's statement said it will work to safeguard against consumer confusion caused by unauthorized uses of Mickey and other iconic characters. So yeah, Disney still solidly and separately holds a trademark on Mickey as a corporate mascot and brand identifier, and the law forbids using the character deceptively to fool consumers, TeePublic shops, into thinking a product is from the original creator. Anyone starting a film company or a theme park will not be free. There goes our 2024 plans. You will not be free to make mouse ears as your logo.
There goes
There's a lot there. There's a lot going on there, Jen, with 2 minutes left.
We had a big announcement at the end of this, but now
there goes our theme park.
Let's do it.
Right out the window.
So once it expires, you can't do it again. Like you can't restart the clock at all.
No, restart the clock. That's that's the when it's like a book or if it's a song, there's like different laws in terms of when that goes to public domain. Like that's the thing with Winnie the Pooh is like there was, I don't know if it was the 95-year rule or if it was when sometimes it's like when it's a certain amount of years or when the author dies, it's a certain amount of years after that. Like that's a lot about, plays. When you try to do theaters will sometimes do like an Oscar Wilde play because it was the late 1800s and it's in the public domain, so they don't have to pay for any rights. So there's that kind of there's different parameters for depending on what we're talking about. So yeah, because this is kind of art we're talking about. This is the rule that I guess changed over time. So.
I mean, I think
the other Mickeys, like Fantasia Mickey, like you can't go using the Sorcerer's Apprentice in 2024.
Right. Yeah. I think in the overall, it's, it is what it is. I think them pointing out like films and theme parks, that's going to be the bigger thing, right? Because you do have plenty of people using Mickey in different ways as it is now. And then you go to places like, I've been to Las Vegas and I saw Mickey there, and I'm just gonna say, That is not my Mickey. That does not look like Mickey. But some kids walking across the strip probably thought it was Mickey or Times Square or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think, there's still going to be ways that people are working around the system. But I understand it for the theme park movie worlds. That's a much bigger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it'll be fascinating. Like this past year, like Winnie the Pooh 2, there was that horror movie, but I joked with Jen a couple weeks back because The Great Gatsby went into public domain this year, and so there was this immersive Great Gatsby experience that was going to happen very close to my workplace. And I was like, oh, and it like closed in 2 weeks. But it's like they were able to do a Great Gatsby themed experience because they didn't have to pay for the rights to use that name.
Lexi asking, have you seen Mickey in Times Square? Lexi, take a visit to our TikTok. One of our most popular TikToks involves said Mickey. Yeah.
All right. Well, we will now. It's 10:31. We've gone over with our time. We will take it over to DillosDizResort.com for a little post show. Let me make sure I drop the link in the Discord before I shut this down. I did, right? I did it. So that is where the party is headed for the next 20 to 30 minutes. We'll be chit-chatting over at DillosDizResort.com. DillosDizResort.com. That's our Patreon with memberships beginning as low as $1 per month. DillosDizResort.com. Hit that like button before you shut it down here on the live stream. Thanks for joining us in the chat. As always, if you're watching, rewatching here, until next time, she's Jen. Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's right.
Right. Nope.
She's Jen.
Other way. Other way.
Yeah.
What?
She's Jen.
Yes.
Hello. And I'm Frank. Bye-bye.
Deuces.